The average person is said to spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. Why not take advantage of that time and learn something new? Presenting the 15-minute podcast on weird facts, crazy details, and funny particulars that you'll be able to enjoy while you're taking a on your free time. Welcome to This Shit with Sam Butler. Welcome to another episode of the Shit Podcast. We have a very special segment for you guys today. This segment, we'll be doing it once a month. We've been doing it in Spanish. I think we've already done 2 episodes in Spanish, but it's been fairly successful. So we thought we'd do it in English as well. Hopefully you all will enjoy it. This segment is called Sam and Ram at the Movies. And we'll be talking about weird facts that have to do with different movies, documentaries, productions, things that happened on set.
Yep.
But my guest, Ram, you've seen him before. If you haven't, well, a little bit about Ram. Ram was the director for the show that we were all writers on, called A Late Night con Badilla here in Ciudad Juarez. He's also the director for our live broadcasts that we do with the different guys at the Studio Sin Contexto, Producciones Sin Contexto, here in Ciudad Juarez. And he's now my co-host on this segment. So we're going to be talking about movie stuff. Hopefully, find some stuff you guys hadn't heard before. With that being said, I want to kick this off. I have a weird fact about a movie, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan.
Of course. Wonderful movie, yeah.
Something about that movie. When that movie came out, it was pretty intense. I mean, it still is, but we've kind of gotten used to it. But I mean, some of the stuff that happened in that movie, you never imagined. It's rough. For me, it made me appreciate the struggle. You know how much those guys had to go through to actually win that war. I mean, the Nazi war machine, and of course it kicks off with them in Normandy, and the whole storyline about Saving Private Ryan is amazing. But the shit aspect of it that I found, that the weird fact, was that Saving Private Ryan caused post-traumatic stress disorder in veterans.
I wonder. I mean, if they were remembering their experiences.
Yeah,
it's tough.
So it was way too realistic.
Yeah, there was a story from El Paso.
Yeah.
When they showed that movie, the audience was like amazed when it ended. When people started getting up, there was a veteran that stood up and saluted the screen.
Wow.
Everybody started not to clap, but to
respect
honor him,
it.
to respect him. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, I know it was the first time. I think it was also when it came out. I was a teenager or a young adult, but I remember watching that movie and just going like, "Wow, that was scary."
Yeah, I mean, the first sequence is very realistic, like you said.
Yeah, I mean the scene, a lot of the scenes. There's guys getting their arms blown off on the beach, and it makes you kind of wonder, it makes you if you would have had the guts to do that.
Well, to have that scene ready, Spielberg interviewed a lot of veterans from that war, from Normandy, and he took very little small details, like the guy looking for his arm, or like the guy that gets the shot in the helmet, he takes it off and then he gets killed. I mean, those little things are real from interviews that he did.
Wow. Yeah. It was. I mean, the storyline was interesting in itself, but those details. I remember the scene when the German soldier stabs the guy.
Yeah.
They're wrestling around and he stabs him in the chest. And the other guy could have shot him, but he doesn't shoot him, right? And he's just scared to death. I mean, you look at that stuff and you go, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was a whole different.
That's another point of view for war.
For war. So I think that's a very interesting movie. Of course, it's one of the best out there, but definitely I thought the fact that it was too realistic and it actually caused PTSD in some veterans is pretty amazing.
It's tough, right? It's tough.
Yeah.
So
So
I got
what do you
another
got?
fact, but it's very, very different.
All right. Well, that's what this is about.
It's from a documentary called "Fuck."
All right.
Documentary, and it's about the use of the word.
Okay.
People say in the documentary, they argue that it has become part of society, and depends on how you say it, it's good or bad.
Yeah.
There's a interview with Bill Connolly that states that it can be the word "fuck" can be understood in any language. Just depends on how you say it. I mean, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. I
Yeah.
mean, depends how you say it, you understand it. No? And well, it's a very interesting documentary, well, because the word itself it's said 857 times. It's
Wow.
the second movie that has the most use of the word "fuck" in it.
Wow.
The first one is called "Swearnet," the movie, which came out in 2014. It's a comedy film, and they say the word "fuck" 935 times.
Wow.
Which according to the
Samuel Jackson's in that movie?
I think so. They say the word according to the length of the movie. Every 8.5 minutes, they say the word "fuck."
Wow.
Or fucking or fucked.
Is it seconds or minutes?
Minutes. Every 8 minutes.
8 per minute.
8 per minute.
8 per minute.
8 per
Oh,
minute.
okay.
Yeah. And for example, the Wolf of Wall Street, Martin Scorsese's movie, they say the word "fuck" 569 times.
Wow.
That's in third place.
Speaking of that movie, one of the things that I read earlier today was that movie, when it was shot and finished, it was 4 hours long.
Yeah.
So they had to cut it down because
Yeah.
it was.
Scorsese likes to make long movies.
And so it was 4 hours long, Wolf of Wall Street. And we can learn a lot from that, my fellow comedians. Nothing should be 4 hours long, especially not comedy shows. 2 hours max, but I know that if a movie's longer than 2 hours, I'll fall asleep, and unless it's really good. There's some really good ones out there, but I've been known to take a nap during long movies.
I've been watching that lately. Movies are starting to get longer, so 2 hours is like a normal movie.
Yes.
In the last years, but no, go ahead.
Okay. No, keep going. We're talking about fuck. 8. That's all you had on that?
Oh yeah, well, Uncut Gems, the movie from Adam Sandler, it's in fourth place with 560 times the word "fuck." Then Summer of Sam, remember that movie from 1990 something, Spike Lee's movie, 435 times they say the word "fuck." Every 3 minutes they use it.
Wow.
It's interesting. In Casino, another Scorsese movie, almost 400 times. It's 398. It's a very long use of the word "fuck." And the movie that you were mentioning before, Airplanes.
Trains, planes, and automobiles?
Yes, there's a lovely scene that they use in this documentary where Steve Martin uses the word "fuck" in every possible way that you can express it.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Please watch it.
Yeah. There's a new series on Netflix that's like the history of cussing.
Yeah, with Nicolas Cage, right?
With Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage, yeah. And they discuss the word fuck a lot.
Yep.
And all the different, how it can be used, how it can be offensive, non-offensive, where it came from. I thought that was very interesting.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, there's a fact that I found, a weird fact that I found, was that Samuel Jackson, he's known for saying motherfucker all the time. Well, he actually has a speech impediment. He stutters, and that's how he overcame his speech impediment. Every time he was going to stutter, he would say motherfucker.
Okay.
And that's how he got over his speech impediment.
Motherfucker. Yeah.
which I think is a very, very interesting fact. Now, something that I read a while back, and I wasn't prepared for this episode, but since we're talking about it, the origin of the word, or the origin of the term motherfucker. Do you know where that comes from?
No.
Okay. Now, this is going to get a little bit intense. Okay. Ever since I was a kid, I wondered where it came from. So a few years back, I learned about bucking, slave bucking. Do you know what slave bucking was?
I can imagine.
Okay, slave bucking was a practice that was done mostly in the Caribbean.
Okay.
right? So a lot of the slave owners, what they would do, they would bring the slaves over, and then they would take a male slave, and they would bend him over a log, and they would rape him.
Damn.
And they would do it in front of the other slaves as intimidation, right?
Man.
So that was called bucking. So as part of the intimidation of, and this mostly happened, not saying that it was good in any way. Slavery was horrible, and it's an embarrassment, to our country and to our history, but it existed. But a lot of the traders in the Caribbean, they had this practice of bucking. So they would rape the male slaves. Now, sometimes they would gang rape the male slaves, and it's believed by some historians that this was done in a way to hide their own homosexuality.
Of course, yes.
Right. So it was a process that was done to intimidate the slaves, but it was also kind of a way to hide that they really were homosexual dudes. Mm-hmm. Now, part of that intimidation and domination was making male slaves sleep with their own mother as part of breaking them down. And that's where I read this, and I don't know exactly where. So if you guys know where, or if you've heard of this, if you're listening to this, look it up, find it, whatever. I would love to see it in the comments. But it actually comes from making a male slave have intercourse with his own mother as part of intimidation. So it's where the term motherfucker comes from.
Damn, that's tough.
And when you think about it like that, you go, yeah, I don't know. I think that's a very common swear word in today's society. Yes. But I still am in a place where I have a tough time with it.
Yes, I'm not gonna say it anymore.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. That was the last one.
That was the last one.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was going to get serious, and I'm not trying to make light of it. It was a pretty serious thing. My family history, my last name is Butler. Mm-hmm. And so I had read somewhere that when there was black families that shared your last name, a lot of times it was because your family was a slave owner.
Yes.
And once they had slaves, the slaves would adopt
the last name.
The last name. So that kind of worried me as a kid. I started doing some research, and I found out that and it wasn't even as a kid. I found out as an adult recently, because I did the whole Ancestry.com.
Yes.
And I found out that my oldest relative, or my first relative that came to America, came in 1765, and he came through Esmond, Virginia.
Okay.
Esmond, Virginia is the town where my dad was born, right? And I always worried about that because, we're white on my dad's side of the family, right? And you go, man, I don't, you worry about your family history, especially with the history. And like I've mentioned before, my dad was not a racist guy. My dad's best friend was a black guy. They'd call him Salt and Pepper, hanging out together.
Ah, beautiful.
Right? But you start to wonder, about your family history. And I found out that in 1765, the migration that moved to Esmond, Virginia, came from England, and they were abolitionists. They were Methodists.
Okay.
So my particular family line comes from the Methodist that escaped religious persecution in England in 1765. Okay. So chances are we were part of the abolitionist movement. So that made me feel a lot better about the whole situation,
Yeah. Okay.
But that being said, I don't know. This got pretty deep and historical. But the bottom line is, we can't really do anything about our past, but we can do something about our future. So
yeah.
Getting back to the word fuck, let's talk about something a little bit more lighthearted here for the next few minutes. Incredible Hulk.
Which one?
The original one.
Okay.
What color is he?
Green.
He was gray.
Really?
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk originally was supposed to be gray.
Was it in black and white or something?
Stan Lee drew him up as a gray character.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was supposed to be like the gray machine, the gray, and there was a printing accident, and he came out green. And when he saw him, he said, "That's it. That's perfect. I want him to be green."
Happy accident.
Happy accident. So the Hulk, the green, Incredible Hulk, is originally supposed to be, and I have the deal here, that he was supposed to be a gray monster. That way he would exclude all ethnic groups. So Stan Lee's whole idea of having a gray monster was that he's not black, he's not white, he's not. But when he came out green, he goes, "Okay, this is better."
Wow, cool, man! I didn't know that.
You familiar with Tim Burton?
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
Tim Burton's Batman. Remember who played Tim Burton's Batman?
I know that I have the face right here, but
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, yes,
right.
Of course.
That was what brought Batman back. I remember. I mean, I was in middle school.
1989.
1989. He came back. Everybody had Batman shirts. I mean,
I was in fifth grade.
You're in fifth grade?
Of course.
I'm older than you, Ram?
Yeah.
Dang. I was like in seventh grade. Yeah. But I remember the whole Batman, whole Batman movement was crazy. But you know who the original Batman was supposed to be?
Adam West.
No. Well, I mean, he was the one from the TV show.
Yeah, but he wanted to reprise his role, but I don't think he was
young enough.
Yeah. But I would say Burt Reynolds.
Bill Murray.
Oh, yeah. Right. I read about it. Imagine him being Batman.
That would have been...
It would be interesting,
I think
of course.
him more of as a Joker. Right? Wouldn't he make a good Joker?
Cool.
Bill Murray?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I see him more like the Riddler.
The Riddler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a little bit more sarcastic.
Yeah.
But he would make a cool Batman. I mean, depends on the director's point of view.
That's true.
Yeah. I remember that.
Okay. And we'll leave off with this one. It's a little historical. Alice Guy Blake.
Who is it?
Okay. Alice Guy Blake was the first woman to direct a movie. She did so way back in 1896.
Oh, okay. Wow.
She went on to make more than 1,000 cinematic works, 22 of which were feature films.
Wow.
So she was the first
female director.
She truly paved the way for ladies in the industry.
Wow.
So over 1,000 feature films. That's a lot.
Well, back in those days, they would shoot like a feature film every 3 days. I mean, they would do it very fast, but still, it's a feature film with big equipment and a lot of people working for you. That's very tough for her.
It's tough. So she did over 1,000 works, and 22 of them were feature films.
Wow, wonderful.
So that may have been shorts, may have been. But those that was a silent era, right?
Yeah, that they were faster to do, but still, I mean, the value of making all those films. I mean, well, it's a lot.
I don't know. I struggle to make TikToks, so I can
imagine that. Yeah.
I can appreciate her 1,000 works of cinematic work. But that wraps us up for this episode of the Shit Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the segment. Sam and Ram at the movies. Till next month, we're going to be doing this once a month. And if you guys like, subscribe, add your comments, all that kind of stuff. And this takes off. This might turn into its own little project. So with that being said, thank you guys for joining us. How can people find you on social media?
On Instagram as Doobies Boobies.
Doobies Boobies. And I'm Tu Amigo Sam. That's TU Amigo Sam on all social media and YouTube. You may also find me on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and so on and so forth as Sta Cagado Podcast. But that wraps us up for today. Thank you guys very much for joining us. We'll catch you next month.